Hey everyone, this is Mo Twister, and you're listening to the Kingdom Podcast with the voice, DJ Yuki.
That was the OG, Mo Twister, promoting this podcast. If you like Korean pop culture, or know someone who does, then get into it, and visit our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages at the Kingdom Pod PH.
We're proud to tell you that this is one of the premier shows to go to for your weekly dose of K-pop. So drop everything, and listen to the Kingdom Podcast. Available in all your podcast streaming platforms.
Join us!
If you like this episode, please rate the podcast 5 stars, 6 and take your dome. This podcast is a member of Bun Collective.
Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTV Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast. It's Friday, you know what that means. Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. This is the MTV Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast. Ang galing ko na nga to. Putangin natin. Ako natutuwa. Ayun. So, thank you. Welcome to the show. And we have a lot of agenda here tonight on the show. So, please stay tuned. It's gonna be long. Number 1, we're going to talk about Bound for Glory and Extreme Rules premium live events in one episode. So, expect that it's gonna be a long episode. No? Number 2, another agenda, we're going to talk about the post-Raw or SmackDown events. Syempre, di lang naman yun Raw. Hindi lang din yun SmackDown. We're going to talk about Impact 2. Some Impact lang. Konti lang. And then, happenings. Basically, happenings Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And Dynamite. Of course, kanina may Dynamite. So, yun na nga. First thing foremost, where's my ad-libs? Ito na nga sinasabi ko eh. So, please follow the podcast on social media at MTV Show Pod. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Just search the MTV Show Podcast. You can donate and support the podcast on ganknow.com/the MTV Show Pod. So that was $1 a month. You can access to our subscriber-only content. Plus, you can join our discussions. Exclusive content is coming soon. And also, you can pay by GCash. So, convenient yun. For more podcasts, of course, visit Bunk Collective, thebunkph.com. You can support us on social media at thebunkph as well. Okay. So, let's start. Unahin na natin ang Extreme Rules. Since Extreme Rules, very important event. Nangyari na Sunday. Marami tayong kailangan i-tackle dito. Number 1, let's start with the Bray Wyatt comeback. So, Bray Wyatt made his comeback to the company and after of the fight pit. So, fight pit, lights off, immediately he appeared slowly. Yung mga nandun sa Firefly Funhouse, kung naman yan, yung funhouse, yung mga nandun sa funhouse was resurrected. Pero as figures na hindi na siya yung toys lang. Kasi ano na yung totoong tao na talaga, parang na-reincarnate na sila into persons. So, not going to elaborate them one by one. So, katapos nun, lumabas din si The Fiend. Dito na nga, lumabas na nga yung Door. The Door was a tribute to Brody Lee, who passed away in 2020. So, yun, that's a tribute. Tapos, na nga, lumabas slowly si Bray Wyatt in a mask. Then, the crowd is cheering, holy shit, that was wild. And everyone as in is in Bray Wyatt. So according to Fightful, so Bray Wyatt is a SmackDown exclusive talent. It means the only roster na pwede siya mag-appear is on SmackDown. First, ito, syempre marami tayong pag-uusapan, but we're going to leave a question. Number 1, tama ba na SmackDown lang si Bray Wyatt? Kasi, di ba, Bray Wyatt is being teased on all of the shows. Then, tataka ka, bakit SmackDown lang si Bray Wyatt? Number 2, if Cody is still not medically cleared until WrestleMania, is Bray Wyatt the perfect person to dethrone Roman Reigns as the world champion? Diba? Yan ang tanong dito eh. Marami tayong tanong na kailangan i-entertain. Marami din tayong tanong na masasagot once Bray Wyatt explained his comeback on SmackDown. So, SmackDown exclusive na si Bray. So, Bray Wyatt will explain his actions on SmackDown. So, it was a wonderful comeback. Welcome back, Bray. Pero ito, I want to take this out of my chest. When it comes to comebacks, sa tingin nyo ba, mas maganda ba yung comeback ni CM Punk? Yung comeback ni Cody Rhodes, WWE? Or yung comeback ni Bray Wyatt, who was released last year? Maraming agam-agam, marami din akong naiisip. I'm going to answer that inaccurately. Bakit? Inaccurately. Number 1, I love Cody's comeback. When Cody made his return, as in, medyo mayais yung ano ko nun. Diba? You listen to na may review naman. Komportable ako when Cody come back to the E. Diba? CM Punk. Diba CM Punk? Maganda rin yung puri ko kay CM Punk nun. Naalala ko pa nga na Bash Awards winner pa nga yun si CM Punk. Kasi siya lang naman yung legitimate return from the company. And legitimate return as in, kasi diba 7 years yun. Kaya masasabi natin na sobrang tindi din nung comeback na yun. Then, of course, Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was released 2021. We can't say that that's not a big comeback. Hindi. Pero, we can say that's a huge comeback. Pero yung kukumpara natin kay Cody at kay Punk, that's a little bit disrespectful for me. I don't know. But ewan ko kayo ba? Kung tatanungin ko kayo, kando ba yung mas malaking comeback? If kay CM Punk ba? Kung yung kay Cody ba? O yung kay Bray Wyatt? Let me know on the podcast platforms, okay? Let's go to the matches of Extreme Rules. I have my notes here. So I'm holding my notes. Number 1, start with the fight pit. So that's Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. Fight pit. Then Cormier, special guest referee. Alam mo yung 2 things that they love and hate about this match. Number 1, I love na very straightforward MMA approach. Ito, yung kung yung ginawa nila with NXT before, ganito din yung naging approach nila ngayon. So, that's a plus for me. Oh, everyone doesn't like the idea of fight pit or maybe Daniel Cormier's appearance. Ewan ko. Ewan ko na lang, matatawa na lang ako if everyone hates or disputes that idea. But regardless, let's go back. So, Fight Pit. It was fine as fuck. Okay lang. I don't expect a lot about this kasi di naman natin pwede sabihin na pangit to kasi dito din mag-i-spot si Bray Wyatt. Hindi. Sinabi ko lang, ito sakto lang. I'm not expecting big and I'm not expecting small. I'm not expecting that hard. But I think I could say that this match delivered. Okay. Itong match na to, na-deliver naman yung kanyang purpose. But I'm not going to say this is a 5-star. I cannot say that was a good match. It was fine. Hanggang doon na lang yun. Then, let's move on to the I Quit match. Ito, opposite ito. Alam nyo, sobrang nagustuhan ko yung I Quit match kasi if you remember, sobrang genius ni Edge when it comes to how to write himself out of since may announced then that Edge will be a star ulit in a Disney Plus series. Then, ito na nga yung write-off sa kanya, most likely. That was a amazing one. Using Beth Phoenix as a bait can write Edge out of the company. And the match, yes, kind of slow, understandable. That's how a last man standing match works. And it's very understandable why the match is very slow. And that was, the storytelling wise of this match. Sobrang unmatchable nun. Wala akong masabi. Parang, the more these guys giving themselves, sobrang nasisiyahan ako on how they produce things, di ba? On how they produce the match together. Yun nagustuhan ko. The only dislike lang is why people. And also, gusto ko din i-address. Sobrang gusto ko yung commentary English. Kasi di ako nag-Tagalog. Nanonood pa lang ako probably this Sunday ng Tagalog. So, I love Bray. Hindi, I love how Michael Cole did this job here. Hindi siya yung mukhang pilit. At lalong hindi din napipilitan. Kasi, parang as a father, then, si Bray, as a father, Michael Cole knows what to say. Kung yung magiging thoughts niya about the full event or this match alone, he knows. Diba? As a father, he knows kung yung ipupoint niya during this match. Diba? However, and restore ko na yung mic stand ko. Kasi I think okay naman sa akin kahit wala yun. Pero, going back to the Fight Pit, kung kumparahin ko yung dalawa, I think the I Quit match delivered better rather than the odd. I think the I Quit match delivered better rather than the Fight Pit. Ewan ko kung may magano sa akin doon. Pero, it goes. And I think that was a better. I think yun ang mas maganda. Kasi kung ipo-point out natin na nag-deliver lang naman ng maganda itong Fight Pit, di, we can say and we can agree on Fight Pit delivered, pero I Quit match won the match of the night. Tsaka yung mga banger dyan, wag nang asahan maganda yung review ko sa Daddy Broke. Sakto lang. Okay, let's continue to the women's matches on the card. Let's start with Ganta. Let's start with the ladder match. Bayley and Bianca. Tapos, Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan. So, first, yan nga si Alexa at si Asuka wala dito. Kasi, di ba, nalala nyo, inatake sila ng damage control. So, we don't get that 3-on-3 advantage on Bianca. And despite of that, she won. So ito na nga, ladder match. I can say that was the better women's match for me. Mas malinis, mas maganda yung kinalabasan ng ladder match na to. I can say bad things except on one thing about the ladder match. Parang sinasaktan lang din ni Bailey yung sarili niya, lalo na sa end part. Parang ang labo niya sa akin yung binuwat niya yung ladder. Tapos, masiset up siya into KOD. Parang binuwat niya na lang. So, nabilitawan mo na lang yung ladder. Di pa sana matatapos agad yun. Pero, ayun, it goes. Yun na yun nangyari. And Bianca won. Bianca retains. Hindi pa tapos yung feud, for sure. They're leaning to War Games diba? Doon na sila mag-lean ng build for the next one. So, if you guys, I'm going to ask you, ano yung gusto nyong War Games matches on the card? Let me know on the comment section or sa bunk, of course. Let me know on your thoughts about it on Spotify. Diba? Ito. ER match, you can Liv and Ronda. I don't expect a lot on this. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's the best or worst, something like that. Di ako masyadong satisfied. Pero sabihin na lang natin, mas madali. At the labor nila, nag-expect tayo. We got the right outcome. And sa tingin ko, we got the wrong winner. Hindi naman sa ganun. Pero, parang dumarating tayo sa point na, Liv Morgan is not working for us. And, they did what they want to do and drop the title to Ronda. And Ronda is kind of working since she is the more popular rather than Liv, diba? Yan lang naman yung narrative. Narrative dito na si Liv mas popular or si Ronda mas popular over than Liv, diba? That's why they got the decision by dropping the belt. And here's the interesting part. Diba, dalalan nyo on how they finished the match. Liv is kinda smiling on that chokehold by Ronda. And both Ronda and both Liv and Seth are blacked their profiles on Twitter. And na-confirm din na Liv is fine after that. Ewan ko ano yung formality daw siguro. Pero I can say, hindi naman tayo nag-expect masyado in this match. I was expecting that they can kill it. And they did. But the only problem on that is we got quicked. Yan lang Yan lang basically gusto ko iparating. We got quicked by both Ronda and Liv. Pero regardless, that was a pretty good match. And what a way to start strong. Aside from the Donnybrook, we're going to talk about that in a bit. Pero bonus lang before we move on to this trap. Guys, ito para sa akin lang. I like how paano nag-fold yung ladder match rather than paano nag-fold yung Extreme Rules match. I think as much as possible, people would hate how this ER match folded. Ako, personally, okay lang sa akin. Di ba tayo mag-expect ito, di ba? I don't expect a lot. At least we justified the Ronda hype is still there. The Liv hype still there, but not the same as the Liv hype before or yung Money in the Bank. Pero still, we got the best Liv Morgan of her life. Diba? We're getting Wyatt 6. Maybe we can give Liv Morgan in the block or Liv Morgan as a heel soon because of that Wyatt 6. Whatever that is. Then, let's talk about the strap match. This is definitely the worst match of the night. Karrion Kross is a superpower guy. Superpower character. And yung character niya parang superpower yun. Na, di ba? Parang nagbabato pa sila ng fireballs dati. Pero they can't because hindi naman siya wizard. And, ang weird sa akin, on how they folded the match, it was kind of bullshit. Kasi, di ba, naalala nyo yung okay sa akin yung early days ni Cross sa main roster dito. Di ba? Pero ito, on how they folded this match, it's pretty disappointing. Dog shit. Literally. I'm with Cross here. Pero, on how they folded this shit, that was shit. Sabi ko pa nga, puta, I need to rewatch this match kasi parang hindi ako kapante on what I'm saying. Nirewatch ko siya. Hindi pa rin nagbago yung impression ko. That was shit. That was dog shit. Literally dog shit. If people would say otherwise to me, I don't give a fuck. Diba? Parang spraying pepper spray on Drew McIntyre doesn't make you strong. Or that thing doesn't make the booking strong on both of them. Or maybe Drew McIntyre doesn't kill by that momentum and by that spray. The momentum is kinda parang labo sa akin that Cross needs that object just to finish the match. Okay naman sa akin. Okay naman yung una. Okay naman yung few minutes of the match, few first minutes of the match. That was fine for me. The only problem is when Scarlett starts to distract Drew McIntyre. And yun na nga yung paglabas nga ng object ng pepper spray. Like parang, ano nangyari dito? Wala naman sa karakter ni Cross. Wala rin sa karakter ni Scarlett yung kanong pocket thing na yun. Okay, sana ko yung fireballs. Justify natin yun. Pero, yung fireballs kasi, di ba, nalilink siya sa AEW kay Jericho. So, that's why they wanted to do that again. Pero it's still, that's dog shit, man. Let's face it, man. Ayaw ko maging bias dito so as possible. Pero, that was a straight dog shit. Ayan. So, first match, let's go to the Donnybrook. Bago tayo magpunta ng Donnybrook, let's talk about the IC title match. Pwede ko na ba itakal dito? Okay. So, let's tackle this. Medyo chippy pa yung mangyari. If you guys are going to watch this, I'm going to say straight to your asses. Wag. Kasi sa totoo lang, parang ang shit niya, ang shit ng finish, it's very intentional, parang nakakaano sa karakter ni Gunta. Di ba yung karakter ni Gunta sobrang solid kahit wala mga weapon. Tapos ito, he used a weapon connected on the match tomorrow to win. It's kind of weird on the side of Gunter. Pero at the same time, it's okay lang. Let's talk about the Donnybrook. Yung Donnybrook match, basically a all-out brawl between Imperium and Brawling Brutes. Spot fest, basically. But, hindi rin ako magiging bias. That was a pretty good match. Pretty good opening. Ang concern ko lang talaga is how this match plays. Diba naalala niyo, Donnybrook. Then to dalawa let down. Tapos bumawi tayo ng 3 good matches. Parang ang labo sa akin ng placing. Yun lang naman. That's my concern about it. Parang ang pangit ng placing ito. But regardless, that was a pretty good match. Brawling Brutes getting the win. Makes sense to me. It means pwede pa ulit makuha ni Sheamus yung kanyang tarot shot. Maybe before Survivor Series or maybe during this build-up papuntang Crown Jewel. Ganun. But we don't expect a lot on on how this thing will fold on both Gunter and Sheamus. But I would still hoping that Gunter will lose the title to Sheamus at some point. Pero ayoko din talaga na matalo si Gunter na ganon, na sobrang weak way. Just like Jericho's doing. Ang labo parang ang labo. Hindi siya ano sa character niya. Parang hindi yun gamay sa sarili niyang character kung ganun yung way on how they write the chapters. Pero it was fine for me. That was a good match. Pero on Gunter using a weapon is kind of disappointing. Yun lang talaga. Yun lang talaga yung big complaint ko. But regardless, the match was fine. So yun lang. On the pay-per-view or premium live event wise, I can say ito without the Extreme Rules match and the strap, that was amazing. And the strap match was dog shit. The ER match was fine, but I don't expect big. So, all of the 4 matches are okay. From okay to fine, from okay to banger, from okay to fine, and just watch it if you want. Pero I can say that this is definitely better than 2021 on some aspects. From promotion, from how things folded, and of course, yung kung paano nangyari yung ganitong sequence. Or maybe ito gusto natin gawin. But that was a pretty good pay-per-view. But it's not the match or the pay-per-view of the weekend. On our third half, we're going to talk about Bound for Glory. And that's a definitely better pay-per-view or event rather than this Extreme Rules. But before we go to our first commercial break, mag-score na muna tayo. Then after this, our second half is gonna be a basically recap on what's happened on WWE, NXT, and AEW. Then part 3 is gonna be our Bound for Glory review. Okay? So, yung Extreme Rules, Donnybrook, 4 out of 5. The ER match was 3. The strap match was 2 out of 5. The ladder match was 4 out of 5. The I Quit is 4. The Fight Pit was 3 out of 5. At okay naman, kung ikukumpara natin on last year nga, sinasabi ko, ito ayos lang sa akin. Pero, hindi ito yung nanalong weekend extravaganza when it comes to pro wrestling. We're going to talk about Bound for Glory in our third half of the show. And on our second half, when we go back, we're going to talk about basically everything what happened on Fallout of Pro and NXT, tsaka Dynamite. We're going to talk about that. We're going to take our first commercial break. Let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
Been wanting to learn about different careers? Or just need that nudge to pursue your passion projects? Here at Project Offbeat Careers Podcast, we talk to guests with unique careers outside the usual corporate shtick. Listen to historians, gamers, teachers, and cosplayers. See how they've succeeded and how you can apply their learnings to your workplace. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And get ready to take the off-beaten path with us.
I loved you then, I love you now, and I will continue loving you until I can no longer.
You took a part of me until I had nothing left.
The old me had to die so the new me could be reborn.
I didn't deserve that pain. I deserve love, just not from her.
Today, I choose myself.
I wanted to tell you, but you weren't there. These are the stories that I wish you heard. Streaming weekly episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts.
Ayan, okay naman. So, ayun, welcome back to the show. If you're here, this voice, I'm sorry, kasi hindi maganda yung boss ko. Medyo, hindi kasi kagandahan ngayon. Uminom ako ng pero I tried, pero wala pa din. Pero wala akong ubo, wala akong sakit. Sadyang pangit lang talaga yung boses ko pag may plema. No? Pag may plema, ganyan. Pero, regardless, let's continue our podcast with Raw Fallout. So, konting recap lang on what's going on, diba? Nag-usapan natin last week yung commentary changes by RT. Diba, in-announce ng RT that we're going to have a new lineup for the commentary. Diba? So, ito ulitin natin. So, Raw, we got Kevin Patrick and Corey Graves. SmackDown, we got Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. NXT, we got Big Joseph and Booker T. Plus, Kate Kelly and Byron Saxton as correspondents on Raw. SmackDown is Megan Morant and Kayla Braxton. Premium Live Events. The commentary team is Michael Cole and Corey Graves. Pat McAfee will return on WWE pagkatapos ng kanyang commitment sa ESPN Football. And Jimmy Smith is done with WWE and he's sharing about WWE right now on podcasts. Ayun, so hindi mo na ako magko-complain on the commentary ng changes na ito. Hindi ko muna bibigyan ng complaints. Yung part lalo ni Kevin Patrick, and not going to give thoughts about that for now. Siguro papaano ko muna. Lukewarm pa siya, pero mga 2 weeks or 3 weeks after this, saka na ako magbibigay ng senseless na hatol on the commentary changes. Pero for me, for now, I can grade him D or E. Kasi sobrang hina ng boses ng commentary. Ewan ko kung sino yung mahina ang boses, kung it's Michael Cole or kung siya ba o si, sadyang ano lang yung mic niya. Let's see next week or next 2 weeks if magbabago yung aking verdict on that. Then, let's go to our fallout. Konti lang. So, first, let's talk about Legado making their debuts with catch. So, they attacked Hitro. Basically, all of the 3 OG members of Legado del Fantasma, they made their main roster debuts with the former queen, Selena Vega. So, Selena Vega returned as well on the company after months of absence. And, last appearance niya, di ba naka-queen siya? Tama? I think that is mas noticeable din yung kanyang tan. And mas maganda si Selena ngayon. That's a hot take. For me, ito lang yung placing ng comeback was on point. Pero nangihinayang ako kay Elektra Lopez. I hope hindi siya ma-release. Sana lang ma-repackage lang siya as a new competitor doon sa NXT. Yun lang naman. Sana hindi siya ma-release. I feel bad for her. Pero it is what it is. Mas maganda yung kalalabasan nito. Let's see. I love Selena Vega and I will give it a chance and will give it a shot if mas maganda yung kalalabasan ng Legado with Selena Vega or Legado with Elektra Lopez. Pag-usapan na natin yung kay Kunta. So, let's continue with ito na nga. The OC made their returns with AJ Styles. So, technically, Carl Anderson still never openweight champion. Hindi binikant yung championship unless magkakaroon ng changes. Pero for now, that's safe to say that Carl Anderson is still the champion. Then, ano pa ba? Ayun, so, dinepensa nila sa AJ. They attacked Judgment Day. And it's kind of weird to see that theme song. Hindi ito yung theme song nila from few years ago, di ba? Ano weird. Then, we got the So yun, we got the big LG name. Tsaka yung reference as yung Carl Anderson machine gun. That was great for me. That was a big detailing for me in the side of Corey Graves and Kevin Patrick. Yeah, that was impressive. Then, ano pa ba? So, syempre, may balita tayo kay Carl Anderson. Carl Anderson is still advertised for Battle Autumn on November 5 versus Hikuleo for the Never Openweight Championship. Sabi na natin yung kanina. But, read na natin. Then, ayun na nga. So, The Miz versus Dexter Lumis is almost done. No, almost done. Kasi medyo nagiging lukewarm na yung situation of their feud. Over, pero lukewarm na siya. In my eyes. I don't know. Pero, let's continue on that way. Then, Brock Lesnar made his return attacking Bobby Lashley. Before the title match, parang tinulungan pa ni Brock si Seth Rollins. We don't know yet if Brock is a heel kasi malakas pa yung cheers niya nun. Then medyo appear pa siya sa mga fans. Ewan ko kung paano ba yun. Kung ito ba a face-to-face feud? Or obviously Brock is running as a heel. We don't know yet. Parang it's a face-to-face on the way we watched the first seconds of Brock Lesnar on that ring. It's a face-to-face diba? Pero, tingnan pa rin natin kung ano yung mangyayari next week since we're going to have a face-off next week on Raw. Okay? So, and also Seth Rollins won the United States Championship. That was the first title since what? 2020? 2021? Wait lang. And the last Seth Rollins won a championship? 19? 20? Yes, it's 2020. Since, di ba, nagka-tag titles pa siya. It's the first since 2020. Tama nga ako. Then, okay, so DX 25th anniversary, basically, there's no jokes around, but still a memorable moment for them. Still hoping na sana hindi maging consistent ng ganito pag kinakailangan. Sana lang, gawin lang nila itong mga ganitong segment pag importante lang. Kung hindi naman masyado, ano nyo na lang, ito na lang sa the bump. Pero regardless, that was a good segment. I love the opener as well. Hindi ko lang sinabi kanina. On how DX and pinagbabawalan sila ni Triple H na gawin lahat ng ginawa nila dati since there's a deals. Ayun. So, that was a smart end up to the Monday Night Raw. Wait lang. Humihinga lang. Teka lang. Ano pa ba? Kailangan natin i-notes dito. So, wala na masyado. So, ano pa ba? Let's talk about NXT. So, Nathan Frazer versus Axiom. They end the best of 3 competition, friendly competition on each other. Tatapos na yun. Then, they shook hands after of the match. Parang walang nangyari. So, Nathan Frazer won the match. He became part of the North American title picture for Halloween Havoc. Halloween Havoc, we're going to talk about that next week on our predictions episode. Wait, that's a first since ano ba, in your house that we did the predictions for NXT. Yeah. But regardless, it's gonna be a good one since ito ay premium live event and we're going to talk about Halloween Havoc. Then, pa ba? So, Sonya Deville made her return to NXT and she joined Toxic Attraction. I don't know if that's a joining sequence or maybe a substitute attack lang since Mandy Rose was not there on the episode due to the passing of his kapatid. Kaya his, tama ba? Sibling. Tama naman Ayun, so andun siya to save Toxic Attraction from Alba Fire. So there's a lot of things going on in NXT as well. Not talking about that a lot. We're going to talk about next week on our podcast next week. Okay, so tapos ito isa pa. Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez is going to pick their respective opponents for next week since we're going to talk about the pick your poison. You don't pick your poison na to. It's kind of fine for me. So Cora Jade will pick Roxanne's opponent on Raw. Kinontak niya daw si Rhea Ripley. Si Rhea Ripley pa yung pumunta. Then Roxanne Perez is going to pick her opponent, Cora's opponent, on SmackDown. So yeah, we're expecting Raw or SmackDown talents next week on the brand next week on NXT. Since ito pa naman tatapatan din ng AEW Dynamite, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Then Ilya versus Grayson Waller. Yeah, that was great. And then end of the match, Braun Breaker speared Ilya Dragunov and standing on them as a contender. Then si JD McDonough watch it from the back. Yun. So that's smart. Yun. So ito, dagdag pa natin. Wala pa kasing announcement kung saan gaganapin yung match. But Malik Blade and Edis Inoue, tama ba? Pagkasabi ko ng pangalan niya. They won a championship contenders match against Pretty Deadly. They defeated the Dyad and Briggs and Jensen in a triple threat match. Okay lang sa akin. That was fine. Parang kontento na ako on how they are giving Pretty Deadly the shots for the tag titles. And I love Pretty Deadly on this week. Parang nanonood sila ng football na nakahubal doon. Na may paints pa sa katawan. Okay, so let's talk about Dynamite now. So Renee Paquette, former Renee Young, made her debut in AEW. That was a expected debut. We're expecting that since 2019 or maybe after she left WWE on the commentary. Na-expect ko na mag-jump ship din siya anytime soon. And she did. So the first act of Renee Young or Renee Paquette was interviewing her fellow Canadian Christian. Diba? Ganun lang naman yung nangyari sa kanya. So she interviewed a lot. We're not going to elaborate them one by one. Let's talk about the predictions for next week's Dynamite main event. Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page for the AEW Championship. Yes, tatapat po ng Wednesday yung match next week between Hangman and Jon Moxley, and the Dynamite episode ay tatapat po ng Wednesday next week. So yeah, let's do our picks. Para sa akin lang, mas deserve ni Jon Moxley to retain. Hayaan lang natin na si Mox yung mag-drop kay MJF on the championship. But regardless on that, we're gonna get a banger match for sure between MJF and Moxley in the near future. Then, let's talk about the Ring of Honor Championship. Parang nalalabuan ako on how things unfolded on this ROH title match. So, in the end of the ROH title match, Daniel Garcia attacked Bryan Danielson. That was dumb. They teased Daniel Garcia to be a babyface. But yet again, he joined Jericho's shit. And just like that, Chris Jericho is still the Ring of Honor champion. Parang that was a stupid way of building your stars. Ang labo eh. Kasi sobrang over na ni Daniel Garcia as a babyface. Tapos, pinutol lang nila yung momentum. Well, in-expect ko na siya last week. Pero for the formality, that was a fucking stupid move by Tony Khan. It's kind of stupid. Essential na about my boys. Pero it's kind of stupid. to see or to execute that outcome na, we're smurfing you guys. Fuck you. Parang basura ng parang hindi natin nakuha yung gusto natin na outcome on this. But still, we're going to get Jericho and Garcia at some point. For sure naman makukuha natin yun at some point, pero tumitiyempo lang talaga tayo on what's going to happen next. Then, so Orange Cassidy won the All-Atlantic Championship. He defeated Pac on the main event of Dynamite. That was a really good match. And the match was ended with OC hitting two orange punches to Pac. And Pac is your new world champion. That was a solid one for me. Definitely one of the best long-term bookings on their feud. And I'm glad na nagkaroon ng magandang outcome itong match, itong feud between OC and Pac. So yun, that was a really deserving one. Kahit sabihin natin na OC is a gimmick who doesn't need a championship. Pero remember, OC is 8-0 opposite in championship matches since joining AEW. So that was a deserving outcome moment for him since he joined AEW. So yun lang. That was my thoughts on NXT. Then, ayun na. So we're going to take another commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Bound for Glory on full review. So pag-usapan natin Bound for Glory on our next half. We're going to take another commercial break. Let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
I can't. I'm sick.
Yung tataa.
Boo, you whore. Di-lockdown pa rin.
Huh? 2021 na.
So, anong gagawin natin?
Di, magstay na lang sa house at makinig sa Astrology, the podcast. With new episodes every Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
Picture this. Two guys talking about true crime,
weird mysteries,
horror stories.
But the conversation is light.
Mostly funny.
And sometimes naughty.
This is Scriptsalog,
a Spotify exclusive.
I'm Gideon.
And I'm Glenn. And we're serving huge portions of horror and true crime twice a week.
We'll make sure your cravings are satisfied.
And you'll be begging for more.
Char.
Check us out.
This is Scriptsalog, available exclusively on Spotify.
Bakit mabaho ang utol?
Lulubog na ba ang Pilipinas?
Mahihayin ba ang makahiya? Bakit bumabagyo sa Pinas?
Mga katanungang bumabagabag sa kaisipan ni Juan, halika, bigyan natin ng mga siyentipikong kasagutan. Ito ang inyong gurong lakan mula sa Bulacan, Sir Red. At ito ang Hainay na Tagham The Podcast Year 2. Pakinggan sa lahat ng major podcast streaming platforms. Tara, matuto, magsaliksik, magkaroon ng dagdag na kaalaman. Haynayan, magpakailanman.
Okay, so welcome back to the show. Let's continue with Impact Bound for Glory podcast. So, yeah, ito. Hindi natin natakal kanina sa Extreme Rules, pero ito, pasaysayan lang natin. Yung top 3 matches ko from Extreme Rules. Where's my notes about that? So, my top 3 is Edge versus Balor, yung Donnybrook, at saka yung ano pa ba? Yung Edge, yung kay Donnybrook, at saka yung ladder match between Bayley and Bianca Belair. Yun ang aking top 3 if you're asking about my top 3. But let's go to Bound for Glory. So Bound for Glory took place on a Friday. That was their first Impact event on their Friday. Then, the next event will be a Friday ulit. So, not that best move from them. I don't know. Parang ang labo ng placing ng time slot sila. But regardless, that was a pretty good Impact Bound for Glory. I hope you all are watching this events as well. No? Ayun, so let's start with Impact World Championship. So it's Josh Alexander versus Eddie Edwards for the Impact World Championship. The match was amazing. And first thing foremost, the only complaints that I have on this is actually ito, number one, why we're getting Bully Ray. One of the most inconsistent bookings in their fucking company, and yet again we're getting Bully Ray. You know my dismay on Impact because of Mount, or maybe because of Honor No More. You know how I pissed on Impact because of how they're booking H&M really well. Napasa na yon kay Bully Ray. Putang ina ng Bully Ray yan. Si Bully Ray, for context, he won the Calder Shot match, beating the last guy on the match was Steve Macklin. Then, ayun na nga, so Bully Ray made his Impact return, and that was an eyesore for yours truly. Ayun, so the Impact title match, by the way, that was a really solid thing. I don't say na that was better than the Fight Pit, but main event, I think the Impact title won. Ayun, mga e-fans dyan, wag kayong ma-offend sa akin kasi that's the reality. Without the Bray Wyatt thing, match to match, I must say the Josh Alexander and the Edwards match is definitely better than the Fight Pit. Dagdag niyo pa yung panong referee na si Daniel Cormier. Okay, let's continue with the Knockouts World Championship. It's Jordan Grace defending the women's title against Masha Slamovich. Nagiging ako nagkakamali dito. Putangin na. Again, that's Jordan Grace versus Masha Slamovich. Slamovich, whatever. So, okay, that is definitely my favorite match of the weekend. Kasi that was a quality classic between two of them. Partida, hindi ko pa kilala si Masha. But, man, that was a really good one for both of them. And actually, if you're asking about the comparison list, mamaya ipapost ko siya on SOCMED para lang mas ma-justify natin how I rated the matches from the women's side. Kasi there's 3 levels. So there's okay, there's great, and there's graveyard. And those 2 matches from Extreme Rules was almost graveyard. And those 2 women's matches is kinda alam mo yung kinamiyayem. To be fair, that was a really good match. But ito, that was amazing. That was a banger. And ewan ko kung mag-justify pa kayo. Wait lang, putang na, tanggal na naman earpiece ko. Okay, so kung mag-justify pa kayo na Impact is not watchable naman, wag nang gamitin ng excuse yun. Kasi Impact is improving and producing a banger after banger. Guys, wag naman i-miscredit yung promotion porket they are the smaller on the pond. Yan lang sabihin ko. Wag nyo i-miscredit yun. Putya. Para kayong para tayo naggagago dito eh. Then, so, Honor No More defending the Impact World Tag Team titles against Motor City Machine Guns. That was amazing. How the match folded, however, not on my watch. Sorry about that. I don't like how the things folded on this card. Medyo it's not my thing. it's not may parang ano yan, cheap niya sa akin. At least we're getting more outcomes after this. But still, it was a really good match for me. Then, let's talk about Mia Yim versus Mickey James. So, Mickey James continuing her rodeo farewell thing. Then, Mia Yim was done with Impact, apparently by Fightful. So, yeah, that was a really good match if you're asking about my, ito, okay naman sa akin. That was a really solid one. Parang, you're giving me what I want doon sa Extreme Rules. Kina Liv at saka kay Ronda Rousey without asking some weapons. This is wrestling. That was bullshit. Ayun, so that was a really solid card for Bound for Glory. Gagawa na lang ako ng recap for the rest of the card. So, Frankie Kazarian defeated Speedball Mike Bailey for the Impact X Division Championship. Then, the Knockouts Tag titles. So, Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo lost the titles to, ano nga tawag dito? The Dead Dolls. Taya Valkyrie and Jessica. Then, ano pa ba? So, Call Your Shot. The notable returns here was, ayun, Bully Ray lang naman. Ayan na, Bully Ray lang. Bully Ray lang yung matinong return dito. Tsaka si Sabo ba nag-return? Alam ko si Sabo nag-return din. Ayun, so that was my thoughts for Impact, Bound for Glory. Overall, that was a solid event. Without Bully Ray, the event's gonna be better than I expected. Sabi ko, putya, ito na rin papanoorin ko kaysa SmackDown. And hindi naman ako nagkamali. Pero except on that Bully Ray return, yours truly is kind of pissed about it. But let's talk about the fallout of Impact. So, Josh Alexander defeated Bobby Fish in the Impact World title match. And that was fine. Then, after the match, si Bully Ray tuloy. So, si Frankie Kazarian confronted Josh Alexander and he announced that he will cash in his option C for the Impact World Championship. He will cash in on, I think, November 18 on Overdrive event of Impact. So, yeah. Then we're getting Bully Ray and Josh by Hard to Kill in January. So, matagal pa yun. So, we're not going to talk about that. And fuck Bully Ray, by the way. So, yeah. That was it for our Bound for Glory review. I'm not expecting ito. So, konting thoughts about BFG. Without Bully Ray's win and without what happened on the Collier shot, I could say this is a better event than Extreme Rules. No offense na WWE fans. Wag niyo akong atakihin. Pero without the Bray Wyatt return and without some spots on Extreme Rules and without that I Quit match, I can say that Bound for Glory is better than Extreme Rules. Okay, let's go to our scores. So, X Division title, 4 out of 5. The Mickey James BAM is 3. The Knockouts tag titles, it's fine, 2 out of 5. The Impact tags is 3. The Call Your Shot, all the way. The Impact Knockouts World is 4. The Impact World is 4. Top 3 matches on the card, by the way, is where's my notes? So, my top 3 is yung X Division, the Knockouts World, and the main event. Yan na. So, yeah, that was amazing weekend for pro wrestling. Next week, it's gonna be another amazing weekend. We're getting NXT Horror, NXT Halloween Havoc next week. on the WWE Network and on Peacock. Let's do our picks of the week. Okay, so my wrestler of the week, very obvious, Bray Wyatt. Then the woman is Jordan Grace. Do you think I'm going to pick Ronda Rousey, you fools? And the match of the week is Josh Alexander versus Eddie Edwards from Impact Bound for Glory. That was a really good one. If I'm going to pick from E, definitely I'm going to pick the Donnybrook. Donnybrook was a really good one, as well as the I Quit. That was a really solid one, by the way. Then, that was it for our podcast. Follow us on social media at The Show Pod. Siyempre, subscribe na rin kayo sa YouTube. Just search The Show Podcast. You can donate and support the podcast on Gank. ganknow.com/The Show Pod. As low as $1 a month, you can access to our exclusive audio content. Plus, you can join our discussions and more to come really, really soon. For more podcasts, visit thebangph.com and you can support us on social media as well at thebangph. And this podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and the rest of the podcast platforms. You can rate me 5 stars, 6 stars in Tokyo Dome. And all of the links related to the podcast available on linktr.ee/The Show Podcast. And Twitter and Instagram at AG Pinera, by the way. And of course, please support MWF on ganknow.com/Manila Wrestling Fed or ManilaWrestling.com. The tapings for November 13 and for this October 16 was cancelled. So, due to some wrestlers got positive to COVID. So, that's why they canceled tapings, and the tapings will take place on November 13. And of course, please support FPW for their unfinished business this Sunday as well at the Power Mac in Makati. So, the main event is Mike Madrigal versus Rap Imabayashi. Yun. So, please support. You can buy tickets sa Ticket to Me. So, yun lang. That's it for our episode number 130. In cooperation with Bang Collective, I want to thank DJ Yuki for everything and help. Of course, love and support on the podcast. See you on the next one. Goodbye. Stay safe, stay wrestle.